Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for those who are ready to jump on and get started to learn more about the hotel and cruise booking tools. We're going to wait just a few seconds and let everybody jump on. I hope everyone is having a great morning so far. Just a few more, we'll wait about maybe 10 more seconds. I know that all of you can't get into the webinar until I start broadcasting. So I like to wait just a little bit to make sure everybody is in and on the webinar. In the meantime, while we are waiting for a few more people to join, during the webinar, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat box. There is a Q&A box as well. Either one will work. I always have this chat box open so I can see them more quickly. So, okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. We did have almost 100 people sign up for the webinar, which is fantastic. I love it. But as we all know, things happen in the travel business, and sometimes what we intend to do gets a little bit sidetracked. So, with that being said, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mickey Taylor, and I'm the founder and CEO of Taylor & Company Travel. I am also a writer for Agent at Home magazines and Vacation Agent. Those are publications that are put out by Travelliance Media. If you don't currently receive those publications in the mail each month, you definitely want to go and sign up for them immediately. They are great magazines that get sent to you free of charge. They are filled with great articles, advice, news stories. Agent at Home is geared more towards, us, the home-based agent, and a lot of the articles are geared towards helping you in various aspects of your business. So definitely want to go and take advantage of that if you haven't, if you don't already get those. As I mentioned, let's see, Denise says, I see the sign-in page screen. Is that correct? So Denise, you should just be seeing the Zoom screen right now that says in the middle, your meeting should start in a few seconds. If I click, now you should be seeing my homepage. So if you're not seeing the homepage of my website, please let me know. Everything should be working fine. So hopefully you're seeing that screen. As I mentioned, go ahead and type your questions. Okay, perfect. Type your questions in the chat box. I like to work questions in throughout the webinar as opposed to waiting and taking all the questions at the end, because sometimes the material that we're covering can be a little bit confusing, and it makes more sense to answer questions that pertain to the material that I'm covering at that point. So don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have anything to share, any input, I love to share that as well. So any experience with the hotel and cruise booking tools, please feel free to share it with us. So the topic of today's webinar is the hotel and cruise booking tools. And one of the most important hurdles I think that agents, especially home-based agents, face in the travel industry today is proving that we're legitimate. We live in a world of technology, which is amazing. I'm a tech junkie and I love everything about technology. But it's also, a time of a lot of fraud. And with that, it's really easy for people to quickly put up websites at the drop of the hat and look or appear like they are a legitimate business, not just in the travel industry. This is across every industry in general. It isn't just a travel industry issue. So with that being said, we have the burden of proof on us to prove that we're legitimate, and that we didn't just put up this website and we're out there to try to scam someone. And the hotel and booking tools of any type, whether it's those that are through Agent Studio or if you're with a host and they happen to have a booking solution, those types of tools give legitimacy to our business. It's not easy, for somebody to create those tools and to create a website that they can book through like that at the drop of a hat. So having those tools, I get a lot of questions. Nobody's really going to book on my site. Everybody comes to me to book. That's okay. But just having the tools on your site gives you credibility, okay? It gives your website credibility. And that is one of the reasons why I don't like cookie cutter websites. And when I say cookie cutter websites, I mean when, not to take anything away from any host or anything that you've been given through them, but I was with a host when I first jumped into the travel industry. And the website that I received from that host honestly was a joke. Anybody that did go to that website to book, there were always issues. It never worked. I had a client miss a flight because they were trying to book and the host agency wouldn't process the ticket because they couldn't get in touch with that person because they needed to verify who they are. I get that, people do buy tickets and, with stolen credit cards and things like that, but it shouldn't take that long to figure that stuff out. Number one. Number two, all of the websites look exactly the same. The only difference is your picture and the name of your agency in most cases. So if I was somebody that had been burned on the internet and I was trying to find an agent and just happened to run across, a few different agencies that had the same website, I might get a little skeptical with that. With Agent Studio, you have the ability to not only add these booking tools to your site, but you can change your site to be exactly what you want. Even if you're using one of the templates to create your site, you can change the colors, you can add tabs or subpages under all of your navigation menus at the top. So even if it's based off of the same template, your website is going to be completely different than ABC Travel that's out in California, because you both have different ideas of what you want your website to be. Now, with that being said, and let's jump into the hotel booking tools, how I use them. I use a lot of tools for a lot of different things. So when you think of a booking tool, you think, oh, it's on your site and it's for visitors to come and have the ability to book on your website and still receive the customer service as if they booked with you. 100% correct. However, I use these booking tools for so much more than just to bring legitimacy to my website and my agency and to provide a convenience tool to my customers. I use them as sales qualifiers, and I also use them to pull information from, to put into my itineraries. I book through these tools when I'm booking for clients. Sometimes the hotel booking tool is the only place that I can find a certain hotel. So there are a lot of ways that we can maximize the use of these tools. So let's start with the hotel booking tool. Mine is under the Book Now. You might have this in a lot of different places. So with the hotel booking tool, it's super easy to come in here and let's search California. Whoops. I'm just going to pick anything and pick a few dates. And we're going to search. Now, this booking tool is backed by Expedia, so you will see a lot of the same inventory on our booking tool that appears on Expedia. Sometimes the same prices, sometimes not. Sometimes there's inventory on our site and it isn't on Expedia. One thing with our booking tool that is different with Expedia or some of the other OTAs, you can, and this has happened to me majorly with Expedia, I'll have a client reach out and say, hey, I found this on Expedia. Can you get me the same deal? Well, as you know, a lot of our suppliers will price match. However, you could go 5 seconds later to Expedia. That deal is either gone, it's been sold out, or the price has already changed. The price can change from the time you select it to the time you get to the last screen of the booking process. Never have had that in here. So when I book or quote, I will come to this tool if I'm doing a quote for someone and want a quick total for their hotel. I'll come to this booking tool and look it up. One thing that has never happened to me, and I can't swear that it wouldn't, but I book a lot through this tool and I've never had the price change. And if it's showing up here, it is available. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that someone can click and there might be only one room left and somebody grabs it before me, but the price doesn't change. If it's here, it's available, which I like. So now to dive into more about what I use the information for. I use Travefy to build itineraries. And when I build these itineraries, let me just give you an example. When I build out these itineraries, I put a lot of information into them because I want my client to find everything about the hotel or resort that they're staying in right within this itinerary. I don't want them to have to go out and look at the resort website to figure out an answer to a question, or to look at images, or to find out, how many dining options they have. I put all of this information into their itinerary. Now, we all know that a lot of, let's see, Lisa asks, Agent at Home, and what was the other one? Vacation Agent. That's the name of the two magazines. Definitely you want to get those sent to you. Also, Travel Alliance Media it's the same company that also puts on the virtual expos. I know that there's one coming up, I believe, Weddings and Honeymoons. So basically you can attend an event right from your office or your home based office. They're really great events that they put on. They're usually 2 days from like 2 to 5 in the afternoon. They give away prizes and you go in, and some of the vendors or suppliers will do like 1 hour webinars on either their destination or their resort. You can download PDF documents about their resort, hotel, the destination, which that's the piece that I love the most about the virtual expos, because a lot of times I find myself having a hard time getting certain pieces of material that I need or want to put on my website. I use a lot of brochures for the agents from the suppliers on my website. I use those brochures to build website pages around for the suppliers that I love to work with. And sometimes, and I'll tell you, Palace Resorts is one of the hardest to find them. They just don't exist. And I don't understand how they wouldn't have all of that information out there. But when you're on these virtual expos, you can download all of the information. You can reach out to the representatives and ask them additional questions, ask them for contact names at certain resorts. So those are great, great events. And like I mentioned, there is one coming up. It's either next week or the week after. So they always do the weddings and honeymoons around Valentine's Day. So it is coming up. And what package does, Latoria asked, what package does Travefy come with? Travefy comes with the Pro and the Elite packages with Agent Studio. It can be purchased as an add-on with the free or the starter plan. So as you can see, all the information I have here. All the websites are different, hard to find them. I come in here, I'll click on find the resort or hotel I'm adding to this itinerary. And if you look at the top, we have an overview. This page gives you a lot of great information, not only about the location where this hotel is, the rooms, the dining, and then this is the piece that I like a lot. It gives you, a varied amount of what is close by. And it gives you the miles, the distance, tells you what the closest airport is, and then it goes into detail about the amenities at this property, driving directions. So everything you would possibly need and would want to include in a quote that you're sending to a client is all included right here. Even down to any deposit, the resort fees, the room fees, all of that is included. So I come here and I grab this information. I copy this, paste it into the itinerary for that property. Then I go to the rooms, pick the category that they're booking. Now, sometimes, if it's a resort and it's a really popular resort, sometimes I have to bump out my dates, pretty far so that all of the categories show up. But if you click on additional info, you can grab some of this information in here that gives them the particulars about the room that they're going to be booked in. Now, a lot of the amenities here are room specific. The amenities under overview are resort or hotel specific. And then a lot of this information at the bottom is the same that you see on the overview, so I don't copy that twice. But this is already on our website. You don't have to log into anything. You can quickly grab the information that you need. No going out and searching on, we all have our favorite resorts and hotels we like to work with, but sometimes that doesn't fit into a client's budget or it isn't available. So we're forced to choose different properties, and we don't always know the layout of each of the suppliers' websites for us to get the information we need. So this is the easiest place, and it will save you so much time. I also grab my photos from here. There are a ton of photos that are shown. You can come in here and grab these and add them to the itinerary so that your client has some visuals about what they're getting. Okay, and then the last part is also a map. I will screenshot this. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can screenshot this and add it as well, and upload it into the itinerary. I do that more with properties within the US because my clients are more apt to be driving than to have a transfer from the airport. So, but this is an option and it does come in handy. And a lot of my clients give feedback that they love having this information included. So that's another use that I use the hotel booking tool for. Now, when you make bookings, I've mentioned that I use this tool to book a lot. One thing I use it for is especially with international hotels. even if you're booking a Marriott or a Hilton, a lot of our big chains, and I know right now Marriott is a dirty word in our industry because of all of their cuts and everything like that they're doing. But the big chains, even with them, if you're booking through them, sometimes you have to remember that after your client travels, and you might be booking out, I mean, I already have trips booked for November, December timeframe. January of next year, I have clients looking at. So you have to be very diligent and very organized if the properties you're booking your clients into don't really work with the payment systems from the US. And they will require that after your clients stay, that you send them an invoice for your commission, and then they will process that. And each hotel is different. Each of them want it in a different format. I'm working with a hotel in the Philippines right now where they don't give commission directly when you book on their website. I had to go through their customer service to book it. And then I have to give them, in order to get commission, I have to give them what they consider a booking order, which is basically just an invoice to them. Then after my clients travel, then I have to send a quote unquote invoice, which is the same thing as the booking order, except it now has a number, an invoice number on it, in order for me to get the commission. So a lot of times I come to our hotel booking tool because you don't have that issue. Now, they are prepaid, but a lot of them have cancellation. You don't have to book the prepaid non-refundable options. There are options here that you can book it now, prepay for it, and it is refundable. So you have those options, and it is a lot easier to get your commission. We also have in our control panel a booking engine manager. And here's the hotel booking report. So at the top, it gives you all the information. I've never waited on hold longer than a minute or two. It's unlike, some people think, oh, well, it's backed by Expedia, so we're going to have to be on hold for a long time. We're going to, have a lot of issues. You really don't. We have our own agent studio. The booking tool on our site we have our own number. We call this number. They are dedicated specifically to Agent Studio and this booking tool. So you don't have to waste, you're not going to be on hold like that. Let me just snooze that. Okay, so once we're in the booking tool, we have the ability to look at all of the bookings that we've had. And what I do is I really just export these as I make them. I export all of this into Excel. If you're familiar with Excel, now there isn't a place to just click export, but you can come in here and you can copy all of this and it will paste into Excel. Super easy. Okay, and then here we have all of the information. The guest name, the hotel, their check-in, everything that you could need if it's easier for you to import that out. You also can click on a number or an itinerary. It's going to pop up all of the information about this booking. It's going to give you the cancellation policy and any check-in instructions. So you don't get this when you book direct with a lot of the hotels. Plus, this is so much easier. And as we get busier and we start to grow our agencies, and I've spoken to a lot of agents. I was just in New York last week at the Travi Awards and at the New York Times Travel Show, spoke to a lot of agents. A lot of agents have the question, how do I grow my business without having to hire an assistant, or, my business is going really well, but I'm not to the point where I either want to hire an assistant or can financially hire someone. So how do you do that? Well, you do that by taking advantage of the shortcuts. And the shortcuts that I refer to are utilizing this hotel booking tool for one of them. It saves me a lot of time and a lot of headaches. I don't have time to track down my commissions. So like I mentioned, definitely if the client, and everybody's situation is different, but if it is possible, book those international hotels through your booking tool. They pay commission the month after your client travels. The only issue I've ever had with any commission check for hotel bookings is because I lost the check. It comes without fail. You can go through, you can double check everything you've been paid for. And you can do that in the commission history report. So you can cross-reference your booking manager to your commission payments. I do that in Excel by, copying everything out just like I showed you. No issue at all. I don't have to try to contact international companies and ask where my commission is and be frustrated because we have a language barrier and it's hard to understand. So you really, if you're maximizing and using these tools to make your agency efficient, it will buy you some additional time so that if you're not quite ready to bring on that administrative assistant or financially you're not quite there, these are tools that will help you still grow your business without having the extra person or the extra cost. Denise says, does the commission amount show somewhere? So the commission amount here on my, under the commission history report, it shows you the amount of commission that you've received off of each of the bookings. And it's a 10% straight commission across the board. So everything that you book through this is at 10%. And, I've had other agents in the past say, well, I can get 11% or 12% booking, somewhere else. And that's perfectly fine. But I was an accountant for 23 years, so I look at more than just the amount of money I'm going to get. I look at the property, the parent company, how I get the commission. Could I be put in a situation where I'm going to have to spend a lot of my time trying to track down the commission? And in the end, 9 times out of 10, to me, it's worth it to forego, unless it's like 15, 16, 17% commission, a big jump. If it's, 11, 12, 13, sometimes even 14, depending on the property and where it's at, it's still worth it in the end to take the 10% commission, book through this tool, and not have to worry about anything else. So Kelly has a question. So to be clear, you're recommending to book right through our websites versus using the supplier websites or other tour operators. I do that a lot of the time, yes. And like I said, each situation is different. If your client needs a payment plan, obviously booking through our booking tool is not going to work for them because these are prepaid reservations. But you do have the option to not book the non-refundables. You can book the refundable reservations through here. They're just prepaid. So yes, assess each client, and a lot of times it is more beneficial to book through here. Also, can you show one more time how you started that itinerary for your client? Absolutely. So in Travefy, let me move this out of the way. So once you're in Travefy and you create a new trip, Travefy is based off of events. So each aspect of your trip is an event, even in info. And I start by putting in the flights, but if I'm putting in lodging, I'll pick, I'm gonna do secrets just because I knew it would pop up. I'm going to put in a check-in time, PM. Okay, now I only had one date in here. If I would have had additional dates, it would have allowed me to put in the checkout. But I come in And this is what it looks like when you first set it up. And then I come down into the notes, and that's where I come into our booking tool, grab that information. Let's see if it'll pop this up. I use this a lot. Of course not. Just grab something. I'll just grab anything, even if it isn't necessarily it. So I will come in here then and copy this information. You know, if I want all of the amenities, that type of thing, check-in instructions, can copy this, and then I just paste it into the itinerary. And then I go back and do the same thing for the overview of the property, grab the images, and then you'll end up with all the information like this. And it will give them all the information on the property, lunches, dinners, and it will include images. Now, if I have the brochure for this property, I will upload the brochure as well. But a key thing with the brochures, remember, every brochure you get from any property is going to have their contact information in it, on it, throughout the entire brochure. Make sure you become best friends with Adobe. I always say I couldn't live without Travefy. I couldn't live without Adobe either. You want to open up that brochure in Adobe, delete their contact information, replace it with your agency info. Because if your client downloads this, or maybe they're sharing this with another group of friends that they're trying to get to go on this trip with them, well, their friends might see, oh, okay, here's Couples Swept Away. I'm just going to go to their website, and they book there without even any communication. Then you've lost sales. Make sure your information is on that brochure. Okay, if you're uploading it anywhere you send, even if you're just emailing the PDF version of the brochure to your clients, make sure that your information is on there. Great questions. But just to reiterate a little bit more on the question that Kelly asked about my suggestion to book through here, you know, you do have to assess every situation, but I do 90% of my bookings as FITs. I either go direct to, you know, the resort or hotel. I have, you know, built up relationships directly with some of the properties that I love to sell, and I go direct for those. Other times, you know, I've had terrible experiences with, you know, a handful of, you know, I'm going to tell you, American Airlines is one of the worst. American Airlines Vacations. And I have been burned by them, and instead of going through them, I found other people, other suppliers to, you know, book through. Reach out to another supplier. Reach out to FunJet. Reach out to Southwest Vacations. Work with FunJet. Let them know, or the supplier, whatever it is, let them know the experience you had. You want to send business their way, but, you know, maybe their commission isn't as high. Request a higher commission from them. Let them know. 9 times out of 10, they will bump you up a % or 2. Depending on your volume, you might even get more of a bump than that. But I've had horror stories with them. So if my client doesn't need a payment plan, I do everything, almost everything FIT, because I don't like the fact that I have to depend on a supplier to get back to me to answer my client's question. I look at a lot of suppliers, and I look at their itineraries. I look at what they offer. If I'm doing something that I am not as familiar with, Mexico, I know like the back of my hand. I've been to a ton of the areas I sell a lot of it, so I know it. But I'm not going to turn down a trip to Africa just because, one, I've never been there and I've only sold it 2 other times. I do a little research and I look at what some of the tour operators are offering. Sometimes their prices or their packages are still out of the price range for my clients, but I can put together an FIT package with, maybe a lower hotel, that's not 5-star. It might be 3-star. Maybe they want 2-star. So I can piece together and put that package together for them that fits into their budget. And I don't have to reach out to the supplier and say, okay, well, this ABC, Africa safari package, my client likes this, but we need to change, 5 things in it. It's so difficult to do that. Some suppliers will, some won't do it. So I have just found a lot of success in booking that way. I use Skybird Travel. I swear by them for my flights. People that say you can't make money off of flights anymore, I would love to go head to head with them because I've made thousands of dollars off of airline tickets last year. And that's the way to boost. I can make $1,000 off of a trip for 2 people to Cancun, believe it or not. So it's all in getting your processes down, learning about your client. And when I say I've made that much, normally it's with clients that don't need a payment plan or don't want a payment plan. But yeah, there's a lot of ways. And I'm working on some new webinars now with Agent Studio. Obviously the webinars I do for them are about Agent Studio and how to maximize the tools. And I still pull in a lot of my experience, but there's a need, and I get requests all the time for different types of webinars that really don't have anything to do with Agent Studio. So I'm working on some of those to do in the future that will give you tips and, more about just running your business, booking, that type of thing. So definitely something that you may want to look into, but I maximize my commission on every booking. And a lot of times it's through this booking tool. So definitely look into booking yourself. Okay, let's see. I think I had another question up here. Linda O'Connor, can you book groups using this tool? You can book, now you don't get quote unquote group rates, but you can book multiple rooms with the booking tool. Sometimes, if your group is 10 or more people or 10 or more rooms, you're going to want to go direct and try to get them a group rate, extra amenities type of thing. But for instance, I do a lot with Marriott bookings. I do a lot of corporate travel bookings, and the corporate people have their main chain that they like to stay with because they have status with them. Well, with a lot of those, you can only book 2 or 3 rooms at a time. If I'm booking I don't have enough for a group, but I still need 7 rooms, I don't want to do 3 different bookings through Marriott. I can come in here. The prices 9 times out of 10 are normally the same. Occasionally it'll be a few dollars less. Occasionally it might be a couple dollars more, but I can book all of, 6 rooms at once. Sherry asks, I just started using Agent Studio on a premium and I am already a member of Travefy. Should I cancel it? Yes. What you need to do is you need to activate your Travefy account. And I'll jump back to show you this. I'll jump back into my control panel before we go to the cruise booking tool, and you'll see Itinerary Builder. So if you've used the same email address to set up your Agent Studio subscription that you used for Travefy, when you come in here and click on Itinerary Builder, it links it automatically, and it'll be like, oh, you currently have a Travefy subscription. It will link them, and then Travefy will then be, your subscription for Travefy will be through Agent Studio. Always just follow up with them and let them know, hey, I just joined Agent Studio, so my Travefy membership is now through them. I linked the two. Could you please make sure that my account is canceled and I'm no longer being billed directly from you? And they will, 9 times out of 10, it's already taken care of, but just follow up with them just with an email just to be sure. And that right there, so I believe the rate for Travefy is $39 a month for the travel agent subscription. I'm on the premium plan with Agent Studio, and that's $69.99, I believe, a month. The Pro is $40, I believe it's still $44.95. So for a few dollars more, if you're on the Travefy platform, you can get Travefy through Agent Studio and pay like $6 more and have a complete suite of tools because of the partnership that Agent Studio has with Travefy. So if you know any other agents in the industry, definitely share that with them, because while $39 for Travefy is a steal, you can get an even better deal if you are utilizing Agent Studio and Travefy, because you're getting $6 more, you're getting an entire website package. And just to be transparent, I did have, for the first time, I've been doing these webinars for almost a year. And for the first time, I had someone send me an email and comment about how I always recommend, you know, the elite plan and this and that. And they said that they didn't feel that that was, that was right, because I'm trying to promote something that I'm getting paid for. I don't get paid. I get paid for my time from Agent Studio, but I'm not an employee of Agent Studio. I don't get commission through them. I don't make any more or any less money if you're on the free version or if you're on the elite plan. So just to be completely transparent, I only am here to teach you how to maximize the platform and share my experiences over the past 3 years with building my agency with the Agent Studio platform. So don't think that I'm just trying to upsell you on anything. I don't make any more, any less. If everybody on here is on the free plan and you all jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, hey, I want to upgrade to elite, that's great. I'm excited for you, but that doesn't mean I make more money. So just wanted to throw that out there to make sure we're all on the same page with that. Okay, the cruise booking tool. I hear a lot that my clients won't book. They're going to call me to book their cruise, and that's great. The one thing that I use this tool for, even more so than, I do promote it, that you can book your cruise on my website. However, I use this tool more as a sales qualifier. When you get clients, you have clients that have never cruised, you have clients that always cruise. Sometimes they know exactly where they want to go. They know exactly, the cruise ship, the date, everything. Other times not. And there are a ton. I just put in the Caribbean, and there's over 6,000 itineraries in here. Even if you ask your clients all the qualifying questions, what they like to do, what they want to get out of their vacation, how many days they want to go, it still is a daunting task to try to think of or figure out a couple options to share with them. I use this tool to get them involved. I make it fun. I take their initial inquiry or the initial information that they gave me. They want to go in May. They don't care about the length. They want to go to the Caribbean. They don't really care about what cruise line. They've never cruised, so they don't know. They want to be in the under $1,000. Okay. I will take and I send them the link to this tool. make a game out of it. You know, be creative in your wording, get ready to travel, get excited. What cruise ship do you see yourself on? Make it fun. I tell them what to put in each of the filters. And then I have that tell them to go on, experience the cruise, which is a key thing. Like if they think they're going to be able to experience and see and feel what their cruise is going to be like, they get more excited about it. And that's exactly what you can do with this booking tool. Then I tell them to come back to me with 2 or 3 choices that they, think they might like. And then I give them my feedback and let them know, I think this would be perfect. This one, well, this cruise, it's already, the only thing that's left are suites. So that's going to be out of your price range. And then we narrow it down from there. But they love it. They get excited. They don't have to go to 15 different websites to look at all the different cruises based on what they input. It will, give them 200 options of various cruise ships, and they can come in here and look. So that is what I use this tool for. I also book through this tool for clients myself, because I like the back end and I like the ability and all of the information that this provides. And I also will use, I'm going to click on just one of these random trips. I pull the same information that I did through the hotel booking tool. Down at the bottom, there, all the information that you ever need to know about a particular cruise. Oh, geez. Sorry about that. I have my reminders to be off. Not sure why that keeps popping up. I pull all the information when I'm creating a Travefy itinerary. When you're setting up a cruise, and I started this one yesterday. This is a Sea Dream cruise. But when you set it up in Travefy, it pulls in just this information. This is all you get, what port it's in, and usually aren't images, and there's no information in here. I would never send this out to a client like this because it really doesn't tell them anything. All they see are the days and where they're going to be. That isn't enough information, especially if you're selling a really high-end or a high-priced cruise. Never do it. All of this information at the bottom, I pull and add to that itinerary. And you don't have to go searching around the cruise website to try to find it. Everything you need that you would want to share with a client or a potential client that is going to book this cruise is all right at the bottom. So again, all the information you need is right here, and it's time savings. It's copy and paste. And once you create one of these, you can save this. The cruise ship doesn't change, and a certain voyage doesn't change. You can repurpose this. So you create it once, and then the next time somebody wants to do, well, this is the Lisbon to Malaga cruise, all you have to do is adjust the dates and any additional information at that point. Maybe there's a promo that you want them to know about, but you don't have to do it again. Deck plans, it gives sailing dates for the same cruise around the dates that your client is looking at. All of the policies are at the bottom. And again, it gives you images. Super, super, super time-saving option. So even if I know some of the host agencies have their own booking tool, and maybe, if they have the same information, you can do the same thing with that tool. But I strongly suggest, if you're a host agency, if the tool does not have this and you sell a lot of cruises, reach out to your host and say, look, you don't have to put this, you can put this out to the public. You can put this on a page that you hide from your website, and you can still access it and go and get that information, or use it for a tool for yourself to search. I get older clients that aren't really computer savvy, that don't want or can't look, and narrow down their cruise. So I will use it the same way I give to my clients. So it's definitely gives us credibility, and some clients love to just go and book their own, and they like to search and play. The majority of clients, I understand, aren't going to want to book their own cruise. They're going to want that personal touch from you or one of your agents, and that's okay. But this booking tool is also a huge time saver. Any questions so far before I jump into the back end, which is what I really like about this tool? And this works the same way. Like, you just walk through, pick your, you can put all the promo codes work, all of that. It's exactly like booking direct. Okay, I'm going to jump into the control panel, and show you the booking manager. Okay, this cruise manager is extremely helpful. It saves you from having to call the cruise lines and stay on hold. And, I had cruises booked through here when Mother Nature was wreaking havoc on, the world. And I didn't have to stay on hold for hours to try to get through to the cruise lines. I could make my adjustments in the back end in this manager. So nice that all of the phone numbers are there. And we can go into the booking manager. There is also at the top, when this opens, at the top you can also search for cruises. Hello, I think it's sleeping on me today. While that is opening, Jen said, thank you for your time. You're super, super, super welcome. I'm glad to share all of it with everyone. So at the top, here's the booking tool that I talked about. It's just a different way for you to look. Denise asked, do we add our host Clea, or do all commissions go to Agent Studio? So for right now, that has been a huge topic with some of the hosts that work with Agent Studio. The commissions currently go to Agent Studio, but I know he's working with some of the larger host agencies that, have a huge cruise business and they want credit for the sale. That is something that's in the works, but for right now, the commissions get paid to Agent Studio. Then depending on if you're using a promo code from your host agency to get a discount on your Agent Studio site, the commission would be sent to your host, and then your host will pay it out to you based on your commission split that you have worked out with them. If you are not on a promo plan with your host, you can put in, to get your Agent Studio website, you can come in and put your own information in, and the checks are sent to you directly. Now, I'm going to pull up one of my previous booking so we can walk you through the different aspects of the booking tool. Why is this not pulling up? Now, the booking was made last year, but it shouldn't matter. Actually, I think they changed this and I'm putting it in. This would be why. Okay, Here we go. It would help if I read and put the information in the right place. Okay, so it brought up the cruise, and if I click on manage, I get all of these different options at the bottom. Okay, the first one will give you agent details, which is pretty basic, and it contains the information that you would expect. And the platform itself is not this slow. I live right by a university. I live right by Auburn, so occasionally my Wi-Fi tends to be a little slower than normal, especially during the day. So the reservation details, everything that was booked is here. You can scroll on down. You can see their dining preferences. If there are linked bookings, so you can link, you have a group of, maybe 5 couples traveling together and they all want to be close. Once you make the first booking, you can add or link all the bookings thereafter to each other. So if we would have linked anything, those would all have been listed here. Now, agency use, you can write notes in here to yourself. Things that you need to remember. It's their birthday. You want to send an amenity on, the passenger's birthday. Then it gives you all the passengers' information. Insurance, if they chose any insurance. Packages, the prices, if they created a payment schedule. Whoops. And then applied payments. Okay, good information. Details is pretty much the same way, the same information, just in a little bit different format, which is exactly what it looks like after you've booked. You get the confirmation. You can see it this way at the bottom. You can add notes from here. You can email this receipt right from this screen. The customer receipt looks exactly the same. And again, you have the same option at the bottom. This just gives them their payment information. The history, this gives you the history of everything that happened with this cruise. If you booked it, then you had to make a change. Anything that happens is in here. When was the last time you were able to receive this information on a booking, a cruise booking that you made? Get supplier history. I can click this and it will pull theirs up. And it's not found because it's an old cruise, but anything, it's already been archived. But if there was any history with the cruise line, it would also pull in any of their history. So you can see everything that happens with the cruise. Now, you can edit their status. They booked. You need to cancel it. You want to hold it. Any of these. You can do all of this in the control panel without ever having to call the cruise line and submit it. Super easy. I know every time I call, I'm always on hold. It doesn't matter if they have agent priority lines, I'm always on hold. And we as agents don't have time to be on hold. Again, you can send an email. This is a little different. You can actually just type up your own email. This gives you a preview of a standard message that can go out, or you can change all of this, type your own message in here, send it out to your client. Okay. So there's some templates already set up, or you can, create your own email from scratch. Cancel, again, you can cancel a booking. it was a fraud booking, you were testing it out, or for whatever reason, you just need to cancel the booking. Payment details, same thing. It blocks out the card. It just gives you everything. The system does not keep credit card information. This is all you're ever going to see. So, if your client wants you to book other, a pre or post or transfer, anything, you should have your own system, secure system where you keep that information, because you won't be able to pull it from this booking. And you can cross-check. This won't work at this point because this is already sailed, but you can, because it's already sailed, but you can update the booking and your notes, and it will just do a cross-check between everything that you have and everything that the supplier has to make sure that everything is cohesive with the booking. And then you can add notes in this section. So I don't know about you all, but I never get half of this information from the cruise line. And I love the fact that we can do all of this in our control panel. It's a huge time savings. And again, I'm talking a lot about, saving time, being efficient. And that's where you as the agent need to weigh out. If you're not as busy and maybe you're just starting out and you want to make, the maximum commission that you can, because you don't have a stockpile of bookings that you and your agents, are trying to get processed. I will even say to my agents, if they come to me and I know that we're backed up or we have, more trips to plan than, we physically have bodies, I'll say to them, I'll even go and say to them, book through here and I will match. As the owner, I'll make up the difference because I know they'll be able to book this cruise and do 2 other, trips, quote, 2 other trips in the time that it is going to take them to go and spend the time on the phone, getting through, booking, and getting all the paperwork and everything they need via email from the cruise line. So I have them book here and I make it up to them, because in the end, I'm still coming out ahead because it's saving them, depending on the period of time of day, the time of the season. Cruise lines are swamped. They're so busy right now. So it saves a lot of time, and you just need to assess within your own agency what is going to work best. But if you're thinking and the ultimate goal is to keep expanding and growing your agency, you can do that without hiring, an admin assistant to do all the little paperwork. Take advantage of some of the tools and use them to your advantage to help you speed up your process. And that's what I use the hotel and cruise booking tools for, how I use them, in addition to posting out and sharing the fact with all of my followers and, your database that they can actually book their own travel on your website. So a lot of great uses for these tools. If you're on the Elite plan, you automatically have the cruise booking tool. The cruise booking tool you can add it on for $15 a month. In my opinion, it is well worth the money to save you a lot of time. Any other questions before I'm going to show you where the replay of today's webinar is going to be? And you will get an email follow-up 24 hours after the webinar ends, and it will include like a thank you for attending, or we're sorry you missed the webinar, and it will give you this link that I'm about to show to you. All of the replays are uploaded to the Agent Studio YouTube channel. And within 24 hours after the webinar, they have the replay posted.
To be a player in today's...
Whoops. I always try to catch that before it starts. It always starts automatically. But so you will find, it looks like they still have yesterday's to upload, but it wasn't until 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So later today, that one will be up by the end of the day. And you can go back through, and even if you have a chance, it is a great idea to go back through and watch some of the previous webinars, because everybody asks different questions, and some webinars are more interactive than others, and you agents have great comments and great questions. So something that was asked in one webinar might not have been asked in the webinar that you were on. So if you do have time, and I know time is, scarce at times for us, but if you ever get the chance, you can go back through and watch some of the previous webinars that we've had. So if there aren't any more questions, I would like to thank everyone for coming. I hope that you found some great uses for the hotel and the cruise booking tools, aside from the traditional purpose that they represent. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to support, and you can put in a support ticket in the control panel. I always recommend putting in a support ticket as opposed to emailing them directly, because they work off of a queue and they pull those support tickets out of there. Should the queue get empty, that's when they go and look at the emails that are received. So your request or your answer will come a lot quicker if you put in a support ticket. Don't feel bad putting in a lot of them if you have a lot of questions. That's what they're there for, and they actually like the support tickets because they feed automatically into them. So, I always also suggest one idea or one question per support ticket, because you're more likely to get a more you don't want any of your other questions to get lost. Sometimes they'll read through and they'll answer part of it and have to look up something else for maybe to answer another question, and it gets delayed. So submit one ticket per question or per topic, and they'll get back to you as soon as possible. You can also email me. My email is in the webinar confirmation that you received. I try to get back to everybody immediately, but as you know, we get busy from time to time. So if I don't get back to you within 24 hours, it will be shortly after that, but I will always get back to you. And if I haven't, please don't feel bad about sending me an email saying, hey, could you respond to the below? I love reminders. Don't get offended at all, and want to make sure that everyone is getting their questions answered. All right, well, let me double check and make sure. Okay, no additional questions there. Latoya, you're welcome. Thank you to everyone that joined today. Hopefully I will see you on another webinar. Tomorrow's webinar is creating some dynamic email campaigns with the Agent Studio Marketing Center. So it will touch upon, in the beginning, just for maybe the first 5 minutes or so, the basics of the Marketing Center, but then the rest of the time will be showing you how to set up, a complete campaign around, one of the suppliers. And I just pick a random supplier that I use and show you, but then you can take that information and adapt it to your own agency and the suppliers that you like to work with. Regina said, great information, very, very informative. Since I've had my website, I haven't utilized my cruise bookings to the extent I just shown. Okay, well, great. Then you have something you can grow on that and maximize. That's what the webinars are for. That's why I love doing them. I think so far outside the box at times, and come up with some crazy ways to do things or innovative ways to utilize these tools in different ways. And I love sharing that. So if one person takes something away from a webinar, it's a win. I always hope that everybody does, but our businesses are all different. So hopefully you all were able to get something out of the webinar that you can use in your own agency. So have a great day. Thank you all again, and I will see you on the next webinar.